Fire Emblem Awakening was one of my favorite games in high school. I replayed it recently, and while it is still dear to me, I still feel unsettled every time I look at Nowi. We first meet Nowi in Chapter 8, where she's running away from a man named Gregor. Our group assumes that Gregor is trying to capture Nowi, so we want to keep her safe. During this chapter, both Gregor and Nowi are playable characters. When Nowi encounters an enemy for the first time, her true form reveals she is a Manakete, a dragon species in the Fire Emblem universe. Manaketes are legendary dragons that can transform into humans. Their intelligence and tongue match that of humans, meaning the two species can communicate. Fire Emblem games always have at least one playable Manakete. Once the battle ends, Nowi thanks Gregor for saving her from the Grimleal, who wanted to use her as a sacrifice for Grima. She apologizes for how she reacted, mentioning that she gets nervous around people who are, quote, outside of her age group, unquote. Once Gregor is recruited into the party, Nowi asks what will happen to her, declaring she won't go back to the auction block. She tells Liza she was sold into slavery to men, quote, more despicable than you can possibly imagine, unquote. She describes how the men would drink and make her transform into her Manakete form to perform tricks for them. In the original Japanese script, Nowi was very vague about who bought her, as she only described them as, quote, bad people with scary faces, unquote. Even though there's nothing explicit here, some fans have theorized that this is alluding to sex trafficking. There's nothing in the game to support this claim, and this slavery backstory gets swept under the rug really quickly. However, some fans believe this theory could explain Nowi's outfit, which we'll talk about in a second. When Lissa asks what kind of scumbags would buy and sell a little girl, Frederick explains that Nowi isn't as young as she looks since Manaketes can live for a very long time. When asked how old she is, Nowi states she's over 1,000 years old, despite looking like a child. Unfortunately, having child characters that are actually ancient mythical creatures isn't an uncommon trope. It's often seen in manga and anime, and many who enjoy these characters will classify it as legal loli. Loli is a Japanese term to describe a young-looking girl. The term comes from the 1955 novel Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov, where the protagonist, a man in his 30s, falls in love with a 12-year-old girl named Dolores, but he refers to her as Lolita. Nowi being a 1,000-year-old Manakete with a child's body and mannerisms is disturbing to many. Players have opposed Nowi being a candidate for marriage, and not to mention, she does wear the most revealing outfit in the game. Nowi wears a cape, a bralette made of dragon scales, booty shorts, a garter belt, and thigh-high stockings. As mentioned before, some speculate that her outfit came from the men who bought her as a way to degrade and humiliate her, with some theorizing that the outfit served a more nefarious, darker purpose. This, of course, is never discussed in the actual game. Nowi on her own isn't a bad person. She's a joyful character and enjoys making others smile. She is also wise from her lived experience, having insightful moments, such as when recruiting her daughter Na, and telling her that it's okay to be sad, to let her feelings out. It's just a shame that Nowi is going to be known as the 1,000-year-old Loli of Fire Emblem Awakening. There are some fans who think that this is all blown out of proportion or that people are just making things up. But I'm sorry, after I saw Nowi's witch outfit from Fire Emblem Heroes, I can't agree with that. I mean, just her attacking pose for that is very uncomfortable. In the words of a wise Redditor, for the love of Naga, please wear a shirt.